Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Man Carly podcast. This is episode 26, coming at you from our makeshift podcast studio.
We moved.
Yes, we did.
Podcast locations.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers me.
It's been a minute.
It has. Here's a little tidbit of information for all y'all out there in the internet world. Captain Morgan and Sprite taste like
Cream soda.
cream soda.
Don't know why. I think the sugar molecules in the Sprite and the sugar molecules in the alcohol somehow cancel each other out.
They throw a party.
They like combine. Like
Yeah.
their molecular structure changes. I'm not joking. I don't know if that's real, but I just made it up. But it sounded good.
I think it's pretty accurate.
I don't know how else to explain it.
I don't either.
It cancels
it's
out
very
any
tasty.
alcoholic taste. I don't. It's dangerous. It's not good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what was our last podcast about? We did Bamboozled.
Yes.
That was disgusting. Was that 26? Is this 27?
This is 26.
You're right, because my brother's was 24. Bamboozled was 25.
Yeah, this is 26.
This is 26.
We are officially into July of 2021.
Yeah, that's weird.
We're out of the pandemic, quarantine, all that.
Kind of.
I've been going mask free, just making people feel uncomfortable for a month now. So
You were the first one to it. Man, I'll tell you though. Oh, I'm getting that echo. It felt very weird, like felt naked to take your mask off for the very first time and walk into a store.
I didn't think so.
Oh man,
I know you were uncomfortable.
it felt weird. The first time I was like, I'm forgetting something. This doesn't feel right.
It was freeing.
Yeah, it felt different. I had to rein in my facial expressions because I was the person that under the mask I was going like, or something really weird, like making a super awkward face. So I caught myself a few times either just smiling weird or like making like a stinky face. Like, wow.
You forget that people can see your mouth.
Yeah, it's really, how weird. What a weird time.
Yeah. I'm glad it's over.
I don't.
For now,
understand.
anyway.
I don't understand it. It's just, how could I feel weird not wearing a mask in a store? I don't understand that. Anyways, okay.
I don't know.
Here's what I want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I want to talk about.
Okay.
Actually, okay. There's one of two things. One,
Wait, do I pick one?
maybe.
Okay.
We should have talked about this before.
That's all right.
Okay. So one, trying to make eye contact to see if you're up for the weird. Okay. So here's either one. I think we should talk about the relativity of time and just go real effing deep on this podcast.
What's number two?
And number two is talking about birth control and the way that we have approached that in our lives entirely.
Are we going to be talking about my ball snap?
I don't know.
Is that what you're going for right now?
Just in general, no, because I've had an experience. You've had an experience.
Okay.
We've had like all types of different experiences throughout our entire lives. And somehow I believe that could possibly bring awkward and uncomfortable value to somebody somewhere that might not be, I heard that gurgle.
That was a throat burp.
I don't know. I feel like we need to be a little bit more prepared for that. But I think
Well, let's ask them.
sharing
they're
our-
the ones watching this. Which one would you rather see?
Where's the cricket now?
The birth control one? Good choice.
Really? You want to do that?
Oh, I didn't say it. They did.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We could do that. Are you sure? That's a very, it's a very intimate topic
Intimate.
that we didn't prepare for.
No, I'm fine with it. Do you want to start with the female birth control or the male birth control? Which one do you want to go with?
I feel like I should have prepared at least some sources that I could cite myself with. Because,
So you got the pull-out method.
Wow.
which
Okay.
I am basically a professional
All right. I think we should stop.
No.
I think we need to talk about.
You got the pull-out method, tried and true. You got the wearing a condom method. That's essentially like the same thing as picking up dog poop with a bag over your hand. Like, you know it's in your hand. but it's not the same thing. And then what else we got? We got the vagina cup.
We didn't give any.
Wait, no, that's not birth control.
That is a menstrual.
That's a menstrual.
Okay. We didn't give any warning to those of our listeners who are family members.
Then you got the pill.
Not want to hear.
You're going. Yeah, we're going. And then you got the pill. You got abstinence, which let's be realistic. That I took part in that when I was a teenager. Not by choice. Okay. What else do we have? What else is there? The IUD.
Mm-hmm. That's
the little popular Y thing that goes up in your vagina hole.
An IUD, yes.
An IUD. What else is there?
There's some
there's female condoms.
Level spermicide, a diaphragm, I believe, which is what you're referring to as a female condom. I think that's the same thing. Where basically it's a cup that goes over your cervix.
Yeah, the vagina cup.
Yeah.
Which ones have we done?
There's no male birth control pill, is there? That we know of?
No, but you know what it is? It's like you got all these other like weird things, and then you got the trump card, which is what I did. I took one for the team. Oh. And got the old vasectomy.
Well, and then there's also tubal ligations, which is the female, and a full-blown hysterectomy, which is where you can just remove everything.
That's correct. Yes,
so
that is
technically
correct.
It goes on both sides. But what I've learned this year is the procedure for a... You are so uncomfortable. Are you uncomfortable right now?
No, not at all.
Is this making you feel weird?
I'm trying to get. I'm waiting to get into the down and dirty. I'm ready to talk about this stuff.
Okay,
I've got stories that I can tell.
Okay,
the world needs to hear it.
Okay, I think my main goal with this is weird, but I think we can bring some form of value to somebody just from sharing our own experiences. That's all we're doing here. This is not medical professional advice in the least bit at all. So do not.
I mean, I feel like I'm pretty well informed at this point.
Consult your doctor before you do anything or stop anything or start anything. I need to put that out there as a disclaimer because I do not want to be held liable for potential babies that have been made or not made. Okay, that's all I needed to say.
I'm not like an MD, but I'm like an MF, like, you know.
Okay, now you are.
I'm like close.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I learned this year.
What are we going to share? Who is this for?
Right.
Young people?
No, just
old people.
Maybe, if I would have.
Is this for people that are just scrolling the interwebs and they're like,
yeah,
how did I go down this rabbit hole?
Why did I get here at 3 a.m.?
Yeah.
That's what I think. I think
they want to hear about my procedure.
Yeah. I mean, really, it could. I mean, that's.
Well, let's start by talking about all the things that didn't work that great.
Okay. Sure.
And then we'll talk about the one thing that was
fantastic.
That's
important. So here's something that I didn't. Okay. Wow. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to unpack here. So here's we're going to remove the political. We're just going to go right ahead and we're going to pluck the politics out of this because the birth control
and politics
can be very political.
What?
Yes. There is a very political element to birth control that can be available and who it's available to and what the cost of the availability is and like in what capacity is it available. So we're going to pluck that out. We're not even going to talk
Let's just talk about the methods and the
effectiveness and like side effects. That's it.
Sure.
We're not going to talk about the political. So get out of here if that's what you're here for. Goodbye.
Okay.
All right. So one thing that I did not know when I was a young person is how many side effects can come from taking the pill, either like progesterone only or an estrogen and progesterone, which those are just hormones that can affect your brain and your body to basically alter your menstrual cycle and or allow you to or not allow you to ovulate. So
what's ovulation?
Ovulation is when the female reproductive system releases an egg and it travels down the fallopian tube and into the
like
uterus.
Our chickens.
Absolutely, except that happens every day. No wonder why they're such assholes. They're just PMSing all the time. That's why they're dicks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So anyways, the pill, like literally the mini pill, you take a pill and it alters your body and your brain in some way, shape, or form. It alters your hormones to tell your systems, your parts, to release eggs at a certain time, or to like stop processes from happening so your body does not. And
it's like a lady part override.
Kind of. Yeah, it's exactly what it is. Through your brain. That's what it is. So something that is really through scary. Your brain. Yeah, it's changed. It's progesterone and estrogen.
I don't know any of those things.
There are things that progesterone and estrogen are things that are naturally occurring in your body.
Are you making these words up right now?
I am not.
And I've never heard these words ever.
So they're the hormones in your body.
You could tell me anything right now and I believe you.
So once upon a time. So here's something terrifying. And I don't know if this is a me thing. Like, I don't know if this is just like who I am as a person. It very well could be. Get it.
I'm going to get that little fly.
For those of you listening, we just tried to catch a fly. It didn't work.
There's a little fly flying around in here. We're going to get it.
It's a good one. What's its name?
Stinker.
It likes the lights. That's what's going on. See, I don't like this because I don't know what's a floater and what's a fly. Because I'm looking into that bright light right now.
Carly's got eye problems right now.
I've got some weird floaters going on.
She thinks she's special, but she's just getting old like everybody else.
Oh, you're tempting fate.
Don't do it.
You're tempting fate.
Don't
do it. It is tempting fate right now. Anyways.
It's like our kids.
Yeah.
It's like when we go out in public. They know we can't yell at them. They're like, they get a pass. That fly is getting a pass right now. Okay. There it is again. Okay, that's strike 2. Okay, keep going.
All right. So I want to go back. Let's go back. Okay. One step. So the mini pill, right? That's what I'm referring to. The pill. That's probably one of the most common forms of birth control that is like over 90%
in the United States. I'm sure that's the most common form of female birth control.
So I believe the effectiveness of the pill. What is that? Why are you making that face? What? For those of you listening, he's staring at me and opening his eyes really big. Did you fart?
It was not me.
Stop. It was.
My farts do not smell like old digested dog food. Okay. Let's be real here. Okay.
This is different because usually they're not allowed in the podcast room upstairs, and now they're here.
I don't even. He's all the way over there. He's 20 feet from us.
It's not Ace.
No.
Oh, boy.
It's Jack, and he's over there looking at us. Our one spectator.
All right. That's disgusting. Okay, so from what I know, the pill changes, it alters your brain, right? It alters your mind. It's a mind-altering drug to alter your body and okay, stinky. So here's what's crazy.
Okay.
The only exposure that I had as a young person to what birth control methods were available to me and or to anybody was in sexual education in 5th grade. Did you take that class? You were required probably. I think it was required by the state. Pretty sure all 5th graders, 4th graders, it was 5th grade. 5th graders had to go through.
No, I think I was in like 6th grade.
6th grade.
Okay. Or 7th grade.
Okay.
I might have been a freshman in high school actually.
Maybe
I'm pretty sure I was a freshman in high school.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'm like remembering where that classroom was.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I was in high school.
Did you learn about that?
About what?
Any birth control methods, female or male?
I had the guy sex ed. They taught the pull out method.
No, they didn't.
And the abstinence method and condoms.
Okay. Really?
Why would I need to know about the pill?
Well, that's what I'm
take the pill.
That's what I'm saying. Like, isn't that kind of interesting?
I don't remember. Oh. I don't remember.
I think that's interesting.
But I'm pretty sure they did not teach me about the pill.
Yeah. No, I think
they like taught us like what a vagina was.
Yeah, like that's what sex ed was. It was basically like here's like your
this is
reproductive.
Pregnancy. Yeah. Don't do this.
Right. It was
like until later.
Right.
Yeah.
So okay, say for example that you did not have like supportive parents or parents that like were not open to discussing things like that with you or like whatever.
Yeah.
Like how would one pre-internet, okay? But like now it's very different because there's so much internet and so many things. Pamphlets from the doctor's office or like a doctor or a family member or like friends. Okay.
The nurse.
Yeah, that's true.
Pamphlets.
Pamphlets.
Printouts.
Pamphlets.
Yes.
Pamphlets.
Or they'd wheel that big TV into
Velcro.
Your classroom.
That's what I'm sure what they did.
How many times do you think that shit fell off of that and just smashed and all the kids went crazy?
We need to have a ratchet strap on this TV from now on.
You know, some kids like, hey, watch this. And they went up and cut that thing. They're like, Miss Smith's going to push that thing. And she's going to shatter this TV.
You have a terrible mind.
I didn't say I did that. I said some kid probably did that. Totally different.
Okay. But this is a weird podcast. I'm feeling weird now. I feel like we should have talked about the relativity of time.
Let's just get right to the point. The pill is a nightmare. Okay. The pill is a freaking chemical nightmare for women. No women should be on it.
That's fair.
The IUD thing, I've heard nightmare stories of it, like chopping up penises.
I like that you're just going right at it right now.
Okay. And it's like, if you get the copper one, you might have a chemical reaction to that and your vagina tries to reject it. That's no good.
That's a good point.
Abstinence makes everybody grumpy. Pulling out, one side of that relationship has to trust the other side a lot. And if you're a liar, that's not going to go well. Or, if you're a gambler, that's not going to go well. Yeah. What's the other one? The female condoms? I don't even know what that is. So we won't even talk about that.
Where have you ever seen that? I've never seen that.
Never.
Where could you buy that? Is it an obscure thing you have to order from like a mail catalog?
I don't know.
MAIL catalog.
The spermadical lubricant, spermicide, whatever. I wouldn't trust that. I've got super sperm. I have monstrous loads of sperm. I did. That was just go through anything. Oh. They were like little darts.
They were okay. All right.
3 for 3.
We gave you a warning.
So let's get to the real thing here. Okay. So we decided to go with a ball snip.
So here's
over a tubal ligation.
Yeah. Here's the thing though. We have been through 3 pregnancies. 4, if you want to count the first one. We have had 3 babies, 3 healthy babies. And we know that that's how many we wanted, and we're happy with what we've got. And what we've got. Like we went to the store. We're happy where we are in life. Yep. And I feel like it's very interesting though. Like, we know that we're here, and we know that.
Can we tell the story? Can we tell the story?
Yeah.
Of what sealed the deal? The test that you showed me.
We could. Can
we tell the funny story?
Yeah. Okay. So there's another form of birth control that we haven't talked about. And it's called natural family planning or natural fertility awareness.
That's not really birth control.
Natural fertility awareness.
It's like, I wouldn't call that birth control. It's like strategical sex. It's like sex strategery.
Sex strategy.
Sex strategy.
Okay. So
it's like, don't have sex when you're going to have a baby. Or when you can make a baby, don't have sex.
You want to have,
But the question is, when is that?
Right. But that's the whole point. You learn, and then you know.
It's like a body study.
You really have to be diligent in your efforts because. So now we'll go here since we're at the end of our thing. Like we've made it into the clear, if you will. So now we have the opportunity to talk about this. So that's kind of why I was thinking, hey, we should talk about this. It might be kind of awkward and uncomfortable for people, but whatever. And also it might not. You never know. Could help somebody. But we were in the quote unquote clear now, as a married couple with 3 children and the decision we've made. But before then, for about the last year and a half, we had been practicing natural fertility awareness, which is basically tracking and measuring like bodily temperature and different parameters that lead you to understand when your fertile window is and when your fertile window is not, which basically says, hey, you can do anything you want on these days and do not do anything on these days. And
ovulation. When you are ovulating.
In the days before and the days soon after.
What temperature or what happens to your body temperature when you are ovulating compared to when you are not? So
your body temperature rises slightly before you ovulate and then it falls directly after. Within like 24 hours, it falls. So what happens, and here's fertility awareness is reactive. It is not proactive. So you don't know until after it happens, which is why you have to have a couple months of like data basically to understand,
to identify the trend.
Right. And things,
the pattern.
And things can affect when you ovulate, like stress, sleep, like levels,
hot blankets.
Yeah. I don't know if it's that touchy, but yeah, like certain like life events can actually affect it. So that's where it kind of gets a little dicey, and it's like not always, but there's a way basically with math that you can say, okay, I know every month I'm on average, and this is taking tons of data points. It's like on average every month I'm at this day. So I'm going to block out 2 or 3 days on either side of this. And, you know, you're kind of hoping for the best, but also you're making like your most calculated decision, or your most calculated, like best guess effort.
Your variance.
Yeah. So you're really, it's kind of like it's almost just like statistics. It's like, okay, given this information, like it really is. I mean, it's, you know,
well, it works.
It does.
Like it works.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny because I bought this big book and I read through the whole thing. It was like an encyclopedia of just like knowledge and information that this one doctor who had just focused specifically on that method. And she was like, nobody teaches this. Like doctors don't want to spend the time. Like a lot of places will not willingly give out this information because it's like if you're not in a place where you are married or you have a stable relationship, it is not for somebody who's just out having fun because and like spontaneous and in the moment, because that's not who this is for. It's mostly for people who are like in a stage of life where like, you know, you're like can be somewhat predictable and you're not just going to be like, oh, yay, right now. Yeah. And it's like, oh shit. Like there's an element to it that's like,
well, you can imagine lifestyle comes into play a lot with that, because it's like,
for sure,
you know, you go out to the bar, you have a few drinks, you're feeling a little frisky, you meet a really hunky guy, all of a sudden, whoops a daisy.
My cervical mucus is not in the right place. Yeah. No. Boy, you can learn some really interesting stuff about yourself when you read books. Let me tell you.
I can tell you in the last year, I've seen.
No, you did not.
Stuff that has been burned into my brain.
Science is so cool.
Sure.
Science and biology.
Cool.
Biology, man. It's just biology. I didn't do it. It just is what it is.
Yep. My favorite thing though, my favorite thing in the whole process was in the book that Carly read about learning how to check your cervical mucus. It showed like a crosscut section of a woman crouched down like a baseball catcher, just fucking 3 knuckles deep. And it was like, this is the position to get the like greatest thing. But the best part was she had a bush. The lady had a bush. The drawing. It was a drawing. Oh. And she had a bush.
So they took the time to really just put the detail in with the drawing.
It wasn't even like, no, it was super anatomically correct. And it was like, just full on bowling ball grip.
I am so sorry to any family members watching this.
Boy. So, yeah.
Okay, so anyways.
That is very effective. It's a very effective method of tracking your ovulation.
I learned so much about myself.
Fair warning to all the husbands out there. Give your wife some privacy. Don't stumble into the bathroom when she's checking her cervical mucus.
Oh my God.
Some days it looks like she's picking her nose. Some days it looks...
Why are we so inappropriate?
Some days it looks like she's playing with Vaseline. Who knows?
Are we aware that we're this inappropriate, or do we just not know?
At this point, this is going to help some people.
I think it will.
I'm pretty sure.
At least it'll make them laugh, if nothing else.
I don't know.
They just had a shitty day.
You know, in the analytics of this video, we'll check to make sure all the people jumping off right now.
Oh,
that's the comment that did it. That's right the one.
Yep. Speaking of checking your fluids, we had to check yours, didn't we? Mm-hmm. Okay, so so we went from natural fertility awareness. Wow, I said that stupid. To one day, let's go back in time. One day, I just wanted to make sure that I was doing my natural fertility awareness correctly. And I took a special test that tells you whether you are or you're not.
A P test.
A pregnancy test.
A litmus test.
We're going to say it right now, folks. We're married. We're in love. If we have another baby, if we had another baby, it wouldn't be the end of the world because we love each other. It would have just
been our fourth awesome baby.
It would have been our fourth awesome baby. So please take note of that we would have loved any child that we brought into this world.
I was going for 5. No, I was going for 5.
My body cannot do that. I
settled at 3.
We were going to love any child. So please preface this in your brain with that information.
Yeah.
But one day I just reached up and grabbed a test. And back in the day when we were planning babies, I bought a lot, like a group of ovulation tests and pregnancy tests. Mm-hmm. Ovulation tests test for a special hormone called LH, which is luteinizing hormone. And it basically rises in your bloodstream. It is like hormone that is produced right before you're about to ovulate or right after. I think it's before. I think it's right before. And it peaks and then ovulation happens and then it dips. So you can take this test and you can... Another fart? What?
No.
Just me talking? What's that?
I was just thinking about how bad that was.
So you can test. So I grabbed that. And if you always have this hormone in your blood at all times. So the theory is the test that you take will show 2 lines, and it looks just like a pregnancy test. It will show 2 lines, but the kicker is the line will be really, really dark, like the test line, not the control line. The test line will get darker as the hormone goes up. So the trick is you compare a couple days to one another, and you can tell if it's like rising or not. So I grabbed this test, and then a pregnancy test is either no line or any line, and any line means you're pregnant. So it's kind of like 2 different things, but it's the same test, but it's like 2 different approaches. Okay. Grabbed the ovulation test, not knowing it was the ovulation test. And I took the test and I looked at it. And without even looking at what the test was, my brain just went, oh no, I failed.
Keep in mind, we're in the middle of a pandemic and our stress levels are already very high.
I grabbed the test and I went, oh my God, I'm pregnant. And I was panicking. And I panicked not because I was like, oh no, we're going to have a baby. I was like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? What is my body going to do? And for those of you who have followed this before, I don't think we really talked about this, but I had some pretty nasty postpartum depression with Adam, like having our 3rd child. And it kind of hit me like a train. Like I didn't know it was coming. The other 2
hit me like a train.
It was bad all around. It was just not good. And I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know if I knew to get help or if even what was going on with my body and my brain. I was just like, no, this, I didn't have that with either of the other 2. That's not what this could be. Foreshadowing. It was not good. So I was more worried selfishly about myself. I was like, can my body even take this? Can I do another one? Because the last time it was just I don't want to go through that again. And I was really honestly kind of scared. I was like, okay, I don't want to put my family through what I went through just because I know I'm a different person. It was just but okay. So I kind of took a step back. So I was bawling my eyes out. I sat the test down and I was and he looked at me and he just goes, what is that? What is that? And I was like, I don't know. I think I'm pregnant. And he was
I think the words that came out of your mouth was, you know what that is.
And and we were just oh boy.
And I was like, well, the great husband I am, I was like, babe.
You did. You were so optimistic.
We're going to love this baby and we're going to make the arrangements and we're going to change what we need to change. And it's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. And we spent a whole day thinking we were going to have a 4th baby. And that was a very stressful afternoon. And then we realized...
We, meaning me. And I looked because I kept looking. I'm like, there's no way. Like I knew what I was looking at. I knew how much I was like planning. I was like, oh my gosh, I failed. Like that's the first thing I thought. It was like, I failed because you were aware of what I was doing. You knew that I wasn't like on a like birth control pill. So it's not like I was hiding that from you. Like we were both well aware of what we were like doing and like the risk.
And we were being very safe.
We were being very safe. We were
not being stupid.
Right.
And we were fully ready for our kids to get a little bit older so we could do the things that older kids do.
Right.
Like mentally, we were like ready to start doing those things.
We decided like 3's our number. And so that was kind of like a big, and like you said, pandemic. It was like, oh boy. So there's a lot of things going on. And we decided like, you know.
That was the one. That was the straw on the camel's back. And I said, I'm going to call tomorrow and make an appointment to get a vasectomy because we had been talking about that and Carly was picking on me for like a year about like, you know, you could just get it and then like we wouldn't have to worry about it. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I was like, no way. I'm not like cutting my balls.
Well, and that was, we didn't do any searching.
As soon as my brain accepted the fact that we were going to have a 4th baby and then it was like, we got a mulligan. I was like, oh, we going to do that. We're going to do that right now. Yeah.
So I realized what I had done and I was so ashamed of myself. I was like, how? And that's anxiety to a T is don't think about anything. Don't double check. Just panic. That was me.
Panic and run.
Yeah.
Panic and run.
That's all I did. I didn't even look to make sure like, is this a pregnancy test? Is this an ovulation test? Nope. I was just like, oh God.
See, I even asked you.
I know, and I was like,
babe, like, no, what is that?
Like I grabbed
it. Are you sure that's a pregnancy test? Are you positive that is what you're telling me it is?
And in the middle of just tears and like dread,
meltdown,
I was like,
mental meltdown.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. This is so terrifying, and I don't want to go through what I went through last time. Like, oh my God! So it was just like this.
I will be honest. When I realized that we were not gonna have a 4th baby, it did make me sad.
You kind of like
I got sad about it.
I kind of got to an acceptance point. I was like, well,
I was like, this is gonna be great.
Well, it's not like we're 19 years old and not married. Like we're married. Like we're,
they say once you have 3, like if you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever, it's like kind of the same thing.
I don't know. I've heard that
just
from some
chaos.
People. Yeah. I worked with a couple people who said that and it's just like.
So we decided to do a vasectomy. I full on was like, don't care. Let's do it. Cut my balls, whatever you want to do. So we looked into it, found a place locally, found a guy, went in. He checked out my junk.
You were really brave. You were a very good sport. You have a little fuzzy on your shirt.
Yeah. They checked it out, made sure I was healthy, set up the appointment, went in, and I will tell you that the thought of like having a big needle stuck into your scrotum.
Yeah.
Potentially. Yeah. But what they do is there's I'm brain farting. What's the name of the tube? Vasectomy, yeah. There's a tube that actually produces, or the testicle produces sperm. The sperm travels down a vas deferens tube. And what they do is basically they cut a little slit in both sides of your scrotum. You have 2 tubes for each testicle you have, or 1 for each testicle you have. And they basically pull that little bad boy out. They cut it. They removed about 1 inch out of each one of the tubes, and they put a little teeny tiny titanium clamp on all of the openings, and they seared it. And I will tell you, from my experience, I was not overly concerned about like pain or anything.
Yeah.
But it happened so quick. Like once they gave me the shot, the one side didn't hurt, the other side really hurt.
Yeah.
But the weirdest part was when they like fish out the tube and they pull it out to cut, I could feel that shit up in my stomach. Yeah, and it was like, you're laying there going like, okay.
That.
And yeah, so it's like, oh, and the guy's like, oh, we're almost done. He's like yanking on it. I'm like,
yeah, I feel that.
I can feel all of that.
Oh, weird.
All of that.
That's weird.
But it was like literally like a 10-minute procedure. I had all kinds of frozen vegetables in specifically purchased store-bought whitey tighties.
Yeah.
To ice my crotchal region.
Yeah.
And here's a little word of precaution. Any guys out there, it works. Number one, it works. I have 0 swimmers in my
and
stuff.
It's important that you went back and checked though, and you did the recommended amount of like admissions. Yeah, I was going to use the proper word.
Yeah. But a word of caution. I read up a lot before I went in there, and a lot of guys were like, "Oh yeah, no, it's like a day or 2." No, that's bull. Like it was sore. It was awkward and felt uncomfortable for like 2 weeks. So just be prepared for that if you go do it. But like realistically, like I even took my own stitches out just so I knew it would heal properly. Carly was not happy about that, but I've had enough stitches in my day to know that I wanted to get them out so it healed. You can't even tell. I was worried there for a little bit that my balls were going to hurt forever. Yeah. I was like, oh no. But that went away. And as of today, I have 0 sperm. I
can't believe, like, if you would have asked me a year ago, like, hey, if somebody has a vasectomy, how intense is the procedure? I would have been like, oh, that must be like a really big deal. I can't believe that it was just like a 10-minute procedure and you're in and out, talking, awake, like it's just like so weird.
2 days after I got it done, I went to get tires put on our car and I went for like a 4-mile walk.
Yeah.
I mean, that was probably not the smartest thing to do, but
you weren't like bedridden, which is what I was like.
And zero pain medication, whatever.
Yeah. They didn't even give you anything.
I did tell the surgeon and the nurse the story about the pregnancy test scare, and they were just dying laughing. They thought it was so funny. They're like, oh my gosh. I was like, yeah, I literally called and scheduled this the day after we figured that out.
Yeah.
But it's very common. The peace of mind, like we've heard this, like, and this is like, whatever, we're married, we do the dirty every once in a while. But now we can do it all the time whenever you want to, because you don't have to worry about getting pregnant.
So I have an app on my phone. This is like, hey, anyone that's related to us, like, please just click away, push pause, fast forward.
Share this? You're going to share this on the internet?
No, I don't know what you think I'm sharing.
I know what you're going to share.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All I know is I have like an app on my phone, and like it tells me like when, it basically just gives you like a green light, red light. Like you open your phone up and it's like, you're good to go. Or if it's like, don't do that right now, you're going to get pregnant. So basically like I would, if, if we're just like in the moment, I'd be like, hold on, I got to check my phone. And he'd always be like, that's really unromantic. And I'm like, yeah, I understand that. So it's like, that doesn't have to happen, which is cool.
Well, and then there was always like, it's cool to like do the fertility tracking, but there was always that like, are you sure you were safe? Like, are you sure? And I'm like, yes, I'm a professional at this. And she didn't believe me.
It's just really interesting. It's very, it's really interesting. I don't know. There's just so many things, but I couldn't believe how in and out your procedure was. Just like done. You were just, and I was like, are you sure? And it was so funny because I was able to go with him. Like, your mom came up and she watched the kids because I just wanted to be there like for support and just in case you like felt woozy and didn't want to drive. Like, I don't know. Sometimes people get affected by like needles and blood and stuff. And I was like, I just want to make sure that I'm there supporting you. Like, that's a big deal. And like, it affects me, it's something that I also want you to do.
When they cauterized the tube.
Yeah.
It smelled like burning hair.
Yeah, I don't like that. That's weird.
And it sizzled.
Oh.
It made a sizzle sound like steak.
That's weird.
And I got a little clammy.
Yeah.
When I heard the sizzle, I was like, that's my ball.
Yeah.
That's my ball tube.
I can see that. Yeah.
It's just, I told the doctor when I was laying there, I said, you literally go, as a man, you go your whole life doing nothing but protecting your ball sack and your wiener.
Yeah.
Like you don't let anybody touch it unless you want them to. You can like, you get violent if you have to defend it. And I'm laying there like just Donald ducking it on the table, letting them just like go to town with a scalpel.
Yeah.
I'm like, this feels weird.
Yeah, it very much so goes
this
against
is not normal.
Your like psyche of protection. Yeah, I understand that.
I told him, I was like, it's taken me everything I have not to get up and walk away. He goes, you should see how many people actually do.
Do they? Like, just like, I can't do it.
Yeah, they're like, nope, not doing it.
So interestingly enough, I just went into the waiting room, and I was just kind of expecting to like sit in the waiting room and wait for you, because I was like, and also COVID, like I kind of wanted to watch it, like physically watch it, because he got to see me push out 3 babies, like
Oh yeah, I got to.
It's interesting.
I got to.
My brother's weird like that too, though. He was like pushing the doctors out of the way when his daughter and son were born. He was like, I want to see it, but
I mean, like I cut the cord on all that stuff.
Yeah. but I kind of like wanted to see it, not to like ensure that they would have done it, but like I just was like curious to see what it was going to look like, and like 'cause I've never seen that.
It would have been very unimpressive, I can tell you that much.
Yeah, just
because
like
my
spaghetti noodle
pee-pee,
and then
my pee-pee mentally was like, get away, and I'm like my pee-pee probably looked about the size of Adam's. And I was like, the nurse was a female, like a lady.
Yeah.
And it took everything I had to not be like, it's not normally like this. I'm like, I've got major stage fright right now. Like, this is not like this. Typically.
Yeah.
I've never seen my thing do that.
No?
And no.
Just like,
Even you could put me in an ice bath and it would still be bigger
Get
than
away.
It was like going out my butt. It was like going out, like trying to get out.
Oh. It was like
a worm, you know, like the worm in the apple.
Yeah.
And it goes back in the apple. That's what it was doing.
Not me. Not me.
It's like, don't do it.
So yeah, I wish I could have come back and seen it, but like COVID rules or whatever. They were like, no. But the funny thing was,
do you know why they didn't let you in?
Why?
He told me why.
Oh, why?
Because I said my wife actually really
like
wanted to
peer pressure.
No, he said, we don't let anybody else come back in here because we have had incidences where the person's like, oh, I want to see it. And then the first cut, they pass out.
Oh, no.
And like hurt themselves.
Oh, and then they have to like tend to them.
They've got like an open wound.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah. And so he goes, yeah, we had a thing where like people passed out and, you know, all of a sudden you got to take all your gloves off and you have to like do help CPR or, you know, and you got this person laying there.
Oh, God.
Like, and you can't do that. So that's why they didn't let you do it.
That makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just sitting in the waiting room and like when it was done, they were like, oh, you can come back now. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I wasn't expecting that. And the doctor called me in to his office, which was like, I thought they were going to take me to you. And they like directed me into his office. And I was like, that was weird. And he was like, hey, yeah, everything went well. He's fine. You know, everything's good. Just, you know, I told him like, do like X amount of ejaculations and like, don't have sex.
20.
Don't like, take it easy.
20.
Yeah. Like take it easy. Don't do anything crazy. And I was like, okay. And he goes, yeah. So just want to let you know. And I was like, that was weird. Like, was that because he didn't think that you were going to like follow the rules, or was it like he wanted to let me know that like, hey, we actually did it and he didn't just like, I don't know. It was so weird. I was like, okay.
It sounds like a lot of people screwed up after the fact and it's a big pain in the ass.
I've actually heard that too. And funny enough, some of my male coworkers, when we started to talk about like there were a bunch of like people, like females and males, like all together. And a couple of my male coworkers were like, yeah, like my wife and I like talked about it and we have like however many kids and like we just decided and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, interesting. Okay. Like that's something that I never have heard the perspective of like a man. It's always been like in my experience, I've never actually talked to a dude that wasn't you being like, hey, yeah, no, I like my wife and I decided that this was the best plan of action for us. And I was like, interesting.
Yeah.
And a couple of them were like, yeah, do it right. Because one of them did not do it right and had to go back and get it redone. And he was like, don't let him do that. And I was like, okay, good to know. And he was like, follow the rules. Like, okay, I will let him know that.
Yeah.
But it was like, it's interesting because before we were married and before or I guess not before we were married, but like after we had babies and we kind of knew we were done, I didn't really think about any of this at all prior to us even having babies, not knowing that like, hey, that's a thing. Like, and it's just kind of insane how quick it is and effective. I mean, it's in theory 100% effective. If they do it right, there's no chance because there's no sperm. Like you can't get pregnant without sperm. And it's like condoms, birth control, all those have a 2% like error rate. You know, it's like a 99% effectiveness if used perfectly.
Right.
And it's kind of like that and like a tubal ligation, which is the female version basically of getting like you get your tubes tied or you get or I think you can do like a full hysterectomy, but I don't know if they like to do that unless it's like medically necessary or if you have really like bad periods or I don't know what it is. But basically it's like you could just get your tubes tied. So then like there's no egg, there's no sperm. Like you can't have
it's
a baby.
Impossible.
Right.
Yeah.
In theory.
So
I don't know. It's just
it's super effective. We tested it. The lab checked it. It was all good. The funniest part about the wrapping this thing up is that so I had to bring in a sample, which means I had to jerk off into a cup.
Yeah, that's fun.
But they gave you a cup, and I called the office because they scheduled it for you had to drop it off between 10 a.m. and noon. Mm-hmm. And it was like, okay. So I called the office and I'm like, hey, am I doing this at home?
Yeah.
And then bringing it in, or I'm doing it in the office, or and the lady's like, no, you can do it at home. But just be sure you can get it to the lab as fast as possible.
Yeah.
It has to be here within the hour or it won't work.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, no problem. So we live 20 minutes outside of where this is. So I'm like, okay. So I'm running late and I'm like, all right, I'm going to knock this out real quick. So I knock it out real quick and I'm running out the door because I'm I'm going to be late and I got to get this thing. So I go flying out the door and I'm planning on a 20-minute drive. I go zipping down this back road to get up to the highway and there's construction. And I'm like, oh, okay. And it's one of these deals where they let 50 cars go through and then they let 50 cars go the other way. And, so I'm sitting there and I'm behind this huge line of cars and I'm just watching this cup of stuff just it's heating up. It's hot. I'm oh my gosh, this is
going to be good.
So I sit in this line. I'm sitting in this line for 15 minutes.
Aww.
And I'm I've still got another 15-minute drive if there's no traffic, no stops. So I'm flying down the highway and I'm thinking to myself, if a cop pulls me over, they're going to be like, what are you doing? I'm I got to get this sperm to the hospital, doctor. Or I'm sorry, officer.
We're going to have a non-baby.
I've got this, and it was it wasn't an impressive amount because I was going real fast. It was
enough.
Yeah, barely. I was thinking oh my God, this is going to be embarrassing. I'm going to get there and be like, sir, this isn't even close to enough. I'm I had 5 minutes. Okay, so just let it go. Just test it. Oh. But anyway, so the lady was if you're coming from outside of town, just bypass the front door, basically, and go and just drop it off at the lab immediately. So I get there and there is a Karen at the thing, making a stink with this lady and the check-in process. And she's and I'm I gotta
sir, I'm a limo driver.
Yeah. I'm I got a cup of sperm. I gotta go. I can't do that. I don't want to be that person.
And did you put it in a bag or were you just
I'm just holding I'm raw dogging a cup of sperm. And all these people, I'm standing in line. They're all looking at me that guy's got a handful of jizz. And I'm here we go. So I get up to the front and I'm she goes, hi, how may I help you? Because I was nice and I waited for Karen to wrap her shit up. And I'm yes, I have this very hot cup of sperm that I have to get over to this lab. And she goes, and I said, the lady told me I have to go directly there. She's well, you have to sign in, sir. And I'm listen, ma'am, I've been sitting in hot construction. I'm not doing this again. I'm going. And she's sir. And I'm just running down the hallway, where's the lab? Like a bank robbery.
So anyway, you're making a different kind of deposit.
Yeah, so I dropped it off and it was all good. They tested it. None of the ladies said anything about my inadequate amount. Thankfully, it's very embarrassing for me.
Your voicemail, your phone call that you got to confirm that it was tested. Didn't you get a funny?
Oh yeah, the lady was call? "Hey, just wanted to let you know, congratulations, you were free of sperm." It was negative.
She left you a message, right, on your phone?
Thanks. No, she goes, oh, call me back. I've got some news about your test.
Oh, yeah.
You couldn't just say,
you're sperm free.
You're good.
All set.
But it was weird because she goes,
make it really dramatic.
Yeah, she goes, congratulations. The doctor wanted to let you know that it worked and you're all set. I was thanks.
All right.
Thanks for saying congratulations. I didn't do it. You did it.
Oh, man.
So anyway, so now that we know.
Yeah.
We covered it all. In your opinion, if you had to go through all of it over, what would you do? What would you avoid? And obviously the vasectomy worked, so we know that works. But for you, what would you not do if you had to do it all over again? And what would you do instead?
That is
say you're a 15-year-old.
Yeah. About
Carly,
to emerge into the world of adulthood, womanhood.
What would you go down?
I wish I would have had more information at the time to understand like what birth control actually does and like the effects that it can have on your body and your brain. Because there is a natural, like really, I mean, and I don't know if natural fertility awareness, I wish I would have done that. And then also understood that there are like backup ways to make sure that like, if you do not want a pregnancy, how to prevent it. And like abstinence is always great. Like seriously, like if you're not sure because here's the thing, and this might get slightly political. If you are not ready to have a baby and you are not ready to raise a baby, abstinence is basically the only 100% effective thing. Like before you're married, before all this, like, and I know that's like kind of crazy to think about, but like really, I mean, like there's not a great way to say that
you're not going to get pregnant if you're not having sex.
You're not, and that's kind of like the risk you're willing to take. And now that we're not in like cavemen, like your only like goal in life is to exist and procreate. Like we're not in that like part of the world anymore. Like we're in the like you can control it. Like men and women both have careers now. Like there's a good time, there's a bad time, there's a biological, there's so many things. Like we're not cave people anymore. You know, like you have to be aware, you have to be understand.
It's so
like,
easy a caveman can do it,
right?
Abstinence.
Geico. Oh, okay. So I wish I would have had more information at the time readily available, or I would have been more confident in myself to like go to a teacher or like a doctor or like someone to be like, hey, like tell me more about this.
Yeah.
About what this is going to do to my, like maybe, I don't know, maybe like doctors didn't even really
what would
understand.
you have done though if you didn't do the pill? What would you have done?
I don't know.
What would you pick now?
I don't know if I would have done, honestly, fertility awareness is something that I will for sure teach our kids, like our girls. Not for the purposes of like,
yeah, I agree.
Not even for the purposes of like, hey, like not.
It's kind of crazy that women go through their whole lives and they don't know that.
Well,
stuff.
They don't teach you that, and I had to buy a book. I mean, like,
it's like don't ask, don't tell.
Right. It's kind of crazy. Like I didn't learn like tracking basal body temperature. Like I know it's gross, but like cervical mucus, like understanding like moods and your hormones, and like there's different methods of like understanding like your sleep and like how much you're sleeping can affect it. There's so many things. Your heart rate variability. Like there's things that my little like watch thing tracked, that it was like all of these parameters shift and change just slightly. And it's, if you're using the correct tool to measure it, you can see it on a chart. And that was like the coolest thing to me. I'm like, oh my God, I've been alive. Oh my God, I almost just said this, but I'm gonna say it. I've been alive my whole life. I've been alive my whole life, and I've never known how many different things happen when certain things
mind blown
go on in your life. I've been alive my whole life, and I've never known that there are just like certain things, whatever. And even if it's not used for like sexual purposes, just knowing what your body's going to do and why it's doing it, and knowing why your mood is shifting, or why you're feeling really irritable one day, or why you're feeling super sleepy, and like, or why you're feeling extremely energetic. Like I think I saw this on TikTok, like the hormones in a woman's body, like the progesterone, the estrogen, the testosterone, all these things that fluctuate. A woman is not the same person hormonally every single day of the month. You are literally a different person hormonally.
Amen to that, brother.
No joke. Like, I get why, like, the stigma of like, women are crazy. It's like, dude, well, no wonder. We've got all these hormones that are not constant. They are always shifting. They're always changing. And I didn't know that. Like, I didn't know that. And it's, you're right. It's like, unless you go to like medical school, or you are a biology major, or you're somebody that's like going into like advanced education, that stuff is not taught in our country. It's just not. It's not something, and unless, or if you have a parent that's like really passionate about like something weird, like I will make sure that
all right, kids, let's sit down. I'm going to teach you how to appropriately check your cervical mucus today.
I don't know if we'll get that into it, but like,
so what you want to do is crouch down like a baseball catcher. Make sure you got a big old bush.
No.
And get up in there.
I don't know if we're going to get that into it, but like in all seriousness, just having awareness of like how your body works is so important. And it's something that I am like really going to pass on. And like, I don't know if that's what I would have done differently. Like, I don't know if that having that information would have helped me or made it worse. But I think just knowing that information maybe would have been helpful. And then I don't know. I wish there was like a different thing that wasn't hormonal that you could take, or a male birth control pill that could be a similar thing. But I don't know if there is. I don't know if there ever could be. I have no idea.
Nah, you just got to get somebody that's real good at the pull-out method. I
guess. Oh, boy. That's risking it.
You're welcome.
You're putting your trust in a lot of different places with that. You are putting your trust somewhere. That is terrifying. I don't know. And I honestly, here's the other thing. I don't know. I can't change this. I can't do this. But maybe like male awareness of like all of that stuff. Like having men be aware of like the fact that like, I mean, this is like kind of a reverse question. When you were like 15, 16, I mean, even like in your 20s, did you know any of that stuff? Like, do you know what birth control actually does to like a woman's body?
I mean, I'm pretty in tune with your cycle.
No, even me.
I can pretty much pinpoint when you're going to have a period.
I know what you're going to say.
I know
all right.
days before.
Okay,
I
know.
Tell you exactly when it's going to hit.
Yeah, it's because
it takes me one morning. It takes me one morning. It's coming.
Okay. You know what I mean, though? Like, did you know before you met me, or like when you started to become interested in girls, like, hey, this is what birth control is. And also, if a girl, lady, woman does not use birth control 100% effectively, meaning taking a pill every single day within an hour or two window.
Are you kidding? Honey, okay, let's get real. I didn't know a vagina had 2 holes. I just thought like...
A vagina has 2 holes?
Well, yeah. Like you got your pee-pee hole and then you got your other hole. I didn't know that shit until I was like 30. It's get real. You think I know that?
You thought it all came out of the same hole?
I still think it does. You have to prove it to me.
I don't think you want that.
Trust me.
I don't know.
Trust me. Guys don't know about all this stuff. Okay. Trust me.
In The Office,
we've been looking for the clitoris for
it's like
ever.
In The Office when Dwight goes to Toby and he's like, what is the female clitoris? He just starts dying in the outtakes of that. Oh man. Any Office fans, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, okay.
All right, let's wrap this up. Let's wrap it up. Good, healthy condom.
Okay.
Like a Trojan condom. We're going to wrap it up.
Segue.
We're going to wrap this up.
Segue.
We appreciate you watching this.
We really do.
I'm tired, and I don't know how much more I could talk about this.
I don't know how much value this brought anyone. All I know is now our experience is documented. Yep. And if anybody stumbles upon this, I don't know if you're welcome or not, but
no, you're welcome.
But here it is.
You're more than welcome. Come back.
Come back. Nope. Don't. You are so inappropriate. No.
Do you remember the freaking joke? What's the joke? The outtake for Parks and Rec.
Oh, where God.
She goes. Everybody loves a good comeback story, and they're like, yeah, Rudy, and like. You know, and the guy goes, Kim Kardashian? And they're like, He goes, no, I'm pretty sure she got cum on her back.
Oh my God.
All right, bye. Everybody have a good night. Da-da-da. Good night.
Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.